Property Investing for Women, empowering women to build wealth through property. A podcast brought to you by Investor Women. Create, nurture, prosper.
So you've been listening to our podcast, and I've been sharing stories from our guests, and today it's my turn. I'm being asked all those interesting questions, and so joining me here today is Kathy Brown again from Activate Finance, who is going to ask me those questions to get to know my story and share my story to you.
So now I have the privilege of asking all the great questions to Reshmi, and for us to get to know her a little better. So Reshmi, I feel very privileged to be able to ask you the questions. So tell me, first of all, tell me about you. Who are you and what excites you?
Wow, who am I and what excites me? Every time I think about that, it is like I get taken back to my childhood. So grew up in Fiji, and as a little girl, go to primary school, go to high school. It was all about dreaming and achieving that and visualizing, just, getting what you want. And for me, growing up, as a little girl, my interest was singing as well. So one day I was standing with next to my father, and I knew how passionate he was about singing, and he couldn't make his dream come true, let's say, because we lived in the village, and he lived, and the friends who were, he liked to sing, and he wanted to go out and sing in the band, and so they were in the city, and traveling from the village to the city was very difficult in those days. And one day, standing next to him, and we were standing, listening to the radio, and I could just see this in his face. I was maybe 10 or 12 at that time, and I just had this feeling that I will never let anything stop me from achieving my dreams, because my dream at that time as a 10, 12-year-old was to listen to my songs being played on the radio. And thinking, he is an adult and I'm a child. If he was not able to make it, how can I make it? But I really don't want to be that person who can never do that. And I really wanted to go for that. And I wanted to be able to sing and hear my songs being played on the radio. So that was me growing up from at that age. Before that, I had lost a sister when I was 3. So there was a bit of trauma as well involved, which made me push for myself. That basically, I think growing up in a family where there's that sort of a scenario, everyone goes in their different directions. So I was really pushed forward to go and make my own life. Let's say growing up was in a way that I was there for my own self. I have to look after myself. Nobody else will. So that was my, let's say, my background. And then going into high school, it was like mum would always say, you have to study and you have to become someone, otherwise you'll be like us, depending on others or men for the money, and you'll have your own money, you can do your own things. So I was very focused on standing up on my own 2 feet and becoming somebody that I can look after myself. And as you grow, at that time it was all about you, but my spirituality was quite high, and I became this person who was, I want to do things for myself, yes, but I want to pass on that knowledge to others too, because it's good you can do things for yourself, but if you've got that ability to help others, why not share the knowledge, share the experience? So I was not even married at that time. I had all those philosophy, so always trying to dream and achieve and believe in myself, and so many things had happened, and the way I had thought and things would turn out that way. So I had realized that I can actually make things happen. It was like, starting to question yourself. Oh, no, things can happen if you think and you focus, and it will happen. So many results, small results came through along the way, and I realized, whatever you get focused on, you can achieve it. So it was my own learning. I learned that just by my own experiences, that this that is basically who I am, and that is still my philosophy. If you get focused on what you want to achieve, you have a clear energy, you visualize it, you've got the power, you can make it happen. And it is not for your own self. If you think of the greater good for everybody else, the universe comes behind you and forces you. It just happens. Things happen, and they happen, and you've just got to have patience and be persistent. And that is me. So growing up, that's that these are the things that I had picked up on. And then I went into medical school. So medical school, second year of medical school is when I met my husband. Mm-hmm. And so we could not, so we were, after 2 years of that, we got married because we couldn't actually live together in our culture. We can't be living together without being married, and which was beautiful because it gives you time to get to know each other and know how you can live life together. But I must say, one time when I was actually getting married, we go around the fire 7 times, and during that process, I was actually crying, thinking, this is a step. I'm no longer a girl. I'll be somebody's wife. This is very important. This is very sentimental. All the dreams and goals I have, will they now be left behind? Will I become somebody's wife? And that will be it. So what will happen to my... And I was actually crying. You can watch it in the video of my wedding video. I'm actually crying because I thought I would leave behind all my dreams and goals, and I will never be able to accomplish anything now because I'm married. And I'm just so proud that I've got this husband who's been very supportive. Yeah. And so that's how, when we moved to Australia, basically in 1997, we decided to combine our goals together and work out what exactly each of us want to achieve. And let's say that became the blueprint of our life. And from there is whatever we did, we were really focused because as qualified radiographers, we came here, we were able to get our jobs very quickly and started saving. We come from an Indian background family, so the way we cook our foods, the type of stuff we did was not like extravagant, and so we were able to manage our expenses within the one income, and one income went into just saving. Now we were here in the land of opportunity, and for us, this was the moment. Let's go for it. Mm-hmm. What's the best we can do? Make the most of our lives here, and just see how far we can go. And there was nothing stopping us. So at that time, that was, something we were really focused on. And just 2 people really driven and wanting to achieve so much for ourselves. It just felt like a responsibility. When we started getting the success, it felt like it was our responsibility to teach others and make other people's lives better. It's just this thing that we somehow, captured. It's part of our essence, I think. It's just, and I don't think it'll ever go away. It's always about sharing and caring and making others succeed as well. So when we came here in Australia, one of my goals was when I see people leaving their children in childcare centres early in the morning while they're still in their pajamas, I really remember those visions. I could not see myself doing that. I just thought, nah, I won't put my babies in a childcare centre. And remember, I was married early, so I was like 20, just turned 22. Yep. And I thought, let's, I'm not ready to have children. Let's go as quickly as we can, as much as we can make. Let's make that and then have a family. And so we kept going. And even when I was like 28, I'm thinking, I really need to get started thinking about family. And I thought, no, this is not happening. I'm not ready. I'm too scared. And I really wanted to be a millionaire before I had my first child. So let's say I was kind of there, but I managed to replace my level of income that I was getting from my radiography role. And then I stepped back with my first child when I had her at 30, when I was 32.
Yep.
And that's when I stepped back, because by that time the portfolio, like we'd been investing all along, and so the portfolio became, you know, sufficient enough to give me that sort of income.
Yeah.
So that is.
So can
that
I
is
just stop you there before I forget this really burning question? So when you were crying on your wedding day, first of all, did Victor, your husband, know what was going on? did he think you were just crying because you were happy, or did you actually tell him your fears and what was happening to you?
many years later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I did many years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
See, when you grow up, I think the confidence comes from how you grow up. I was not confident in talking. So I couldn't, I would hear, and plus not only that, I was the quiet one. I would watch what people say, what goes on, but then when I speak, I just speak that one thing and that's it. So
Yeah.
I was not very, like, I wouldn't be talking about a lot of stuff. Only the things that really matter is what I would talk about.
Yeah.
Other than that, I wouldn't really talk much.
Okay. And then you said you wanted to be a millionaire. So was that before you met Victor or after you met Victor and you had the joint goals? So when
Joint
did you
goal.
want to, okay,
Yeah,
so you
joint goal.
both came together and said, I want to be a millionaire.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we were here now.
Oh,
Remember,
right.
we had only $4,500, so
Wow.
that's it. And that's
so
when
how were you going to do that? What were you going to do?
well,
What was the plan?
we started really reading up on, you know, what other people had done.
Yeah.
Attending lots of seminars, read lots of books, did everything we could, and then we actually started trialing those stuff. So
Yeah.
we really, and we found that property was the way most people had made their wealth from. So we started straight away as soon as we could. We just got started straight away.
So Reshmi, tell me about the first property you ever purchased. Did you use a buyer's agent or how did you find it?
No. That
Yeah.
time there was no buyer's agents. So that was our first, like our home.
Yes.
And what we did was we looked at obviously the first things first, right? Looked at our finances.
Yes.
And what can we afford? Basically, whatever we could afford. Like we chose not to use up all of that affordability, and we bought a property much cheaper than that, and so it was $137,000, and it got,
Yeah, wow.
that was a house
Yeah.
for It sounds like a
Not much at all,
Yeah,
does
not
it?
much at all. But remember, relevant, right? It was still relevant. We bought that in Currans Hill. It was like a thrill, like we've achieved something, because we have just come into the country and we were saving money. We started saving, right? And so it was an achievement. Yes, definitely. Okay, we're here. A year later, we bought our home. What's next? You know, so we were really focused. It wasn't like, yes, we bought our home and this is it. This was just used as a stepping stone, because we knew we were going somewhere else. We were going, but so the excitement, yes, was there, but it wasn't like we were all really excited. Now we've got our home and that's it. Nah, that was a stepping stone. That's the feeling. That's what we had in our mind. Yeah.
And so did you have did you talk about how many properties you wanted to buy, or what was the natural progression into the next one? Was it
Next
hard
one.
to save, and how did you find it?
Okay, so two things. We just wanted to start buying. So we were buying, and whenever we could afford to buy, we just kept going. So the next property we bought the next year, and the good thing was that that area hadn't moved at all. And when we bought, so for 8 or 9 years, nothing had happened. And so when we bought this unit in Campbelltown, the following year it doubled in value.
Awesome.
So we started to see some practical results in there, right? So we were able to say, okay, this is the cycle. We because remember, we were reading a lot and attending lots of seminars as well, and so we could see the result there. So when it doubled, it pushed us, like we've had like the deposits now to go. So then we started, and at that time, this was the mistake we made, was we were just buying without really understanding the numbers so much. Whatever we could buy, we were buying. Yes, we had the money to hold on to, but then very soon our property became heavily dependent on us, to be putting in the money. So that's where we were with the property side of things. But while we were doing all of that, we had our combined goals, remember, things got a bit more refined as we went on, because there was no like we need to get these number of properties or anything like that. At that time we were just buying, but what we did have is his goals, my goals combined, to know if this is the lifestyle we want to have, how much money will give us that lifestyle. And if property is giving us that sort of money, is showing us a way to get there, so what do we do to be able to get that sort of money?
Yeah. And who did you talk to then to could you work that out yourself?
We
from
worked
the
that out
seminars
ourselves.
you'd gone to and all the reading?
Yeah. That
Okay.
was something we worked out ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what happened then? Like, did you continue growing? Did you think, okay, well, other people are approaching you wanting to see what you're doing? Or what happened next?
Absolutely. What we found was, as radiographers, we were working, right? So we had about 7 or 11 properties at the time.
Wow.
And
in how many years?
I don't know, maybe, I don't know, 4 years.
4 years, wow, 11 properties in 4 years, that's amazing.
Okay. Whilst working as a radiographer, we at the time had, we had like 11 properties at the time, so, that took us about 4 years to,
wow.
Yeah, to get there.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's when I realised the promises they had made in those workplaces. I was studying ultrasound. I was doing the second part of the ultrasound course, where I completed the first part, and I had to, this is the postgraduate part, when I would need, so the first part was done of that postgraduate first half, and I had to go in to do some hours so that then I could sit the second part of the exam and become qualified for that part of the role. A couple of workplaces where I worked would promise the placement and wouldn't deliver. So when that happened for the second time, I thought, you know what? Because this is when people say there's no discrimination. There was discrimination. I try not to look at it as discrimination, but I was the more qualified person. I was the one who had studied as well, but I did not get the role. Instead,
who got the role?
A PDY, let's say, someone who's just come out of uni,
right,
who hasn't got experience or anything like that, and hasn't studied for it either. So this is what I was facing, and I thought, you know what? You can have your job. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So both my husband and I walked out, and we ripped our licenses, and renewals, we didn't do any renewals, and that was it. We said, we're not going back to it. We want to do something. We don't want to take on this type of rubbish that we're getting. So let's leave it and just focus on our life.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
Okay, and had you had kids then, or no kids as yet?
No.
All right, so that was a big change. So what were you going to do? Where were you going to go? What happened?
This is when we started the mortgage broking business, because what we had found is, over those years when we were doing all these properties, people were naturally coming, said, how can you do this? Can you help us? Can you help us? And so we were doing it and helping people. But then when the mortgage brokers were coming to write, like when we do the loans, right, we knew more than what they could tell us. So we were telling them how to structure the loan. So this was because of the knowledge we had built up. And by doing that, we realized, you know what, we really know more than them. And when we had, when we left our jobs as radiographers, that's what we went and naturally did that. Because
so you went into mortgage broking because you knew more than what the average mortgage broker knew, because you had done it and you had done it multiple times, bought so many properties.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me about your mortgage broking business.
Oh, wow. Was very good, because we were always focused on wealth creation. Right from the beginning, we were using our property examples, and I don't know, we did mortgage broking. I think I stopped when my first child came. No, after that, I kept doing my accreditations and all the rest of it. And I stopped, I thought, this is now too much. I don't want to do it. So about good 10 years of mortgage broking.
Wow. And so how many properties did you accumulate from year 4 to that 10 years? How many more?
Oh my goodness, that would be a lot of properties. I don't know. Really a lot of properties, because we were just buying. And whilst accumulating the properties, we were also, buying properties and flipping them as well to keep boosting the cash flow. So I really wouldn't know it back then what the numbers would have been, but and as we say, like, we don't focus on the numbers, right? But so for exact numbers, I think it was around 2006, that's when our first child was born. We had 31 properties at the time.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so I have to ask you, like, being a mortgage broker, and I get asked this all the time, 31 properties, weren't you afraid of all the debt that you took on? Because a lot of people get so fearful of debt. No. How did you think about debt, and did that scare you? Talk to me more about that.
No, I don't think it scared me at all. Once you understand that this is just a number, when you see that this is your exit, and you see that the proven results that, and you've proven yourself the many times you've done it, it's just a number. The concept will work no matter what. So whether you operate at this level or this level, it's the same. So there you go.
Okay, so you've got 31 properties. The debt isn't scaring you because you've got a plan. So talk to me about, did the plan include emergency cash? Did it include, what was the exit strategy in case everything went bad, and interest rates and global financial crisis and all those things that change constantly, that
all of those
out of your control?
happened.
So how did you manage that?
All
the
of those
change
things did happen. Yeah, absolutely. Like with the GFC at that time, this is the time when it was scary, and this is the time when we started buying more properties.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Even more.
Because it became a philosophy of ours that when we buy properties when there's no money. So that was what we were doing, So what we found is in those times that we were picking up opportunities, and that was boosting a lot of our cash. So we renovated, and there's lots of strategies we did with all these properties. So and from the 31 as well, I think we've sold some, we kept some, and then bought more. So it's so, because it's been such a long journey, I will not be able to tell you absolutely like when was what, because it's all just an ongoing thing. It's not ever evolving, right? So that's how it was. But managing money, we always made sure that we had a buffer. So and then we became more strategic. Like we were buying certain properties, and these properties were going to serve us for a buffer. So this property selection was important. What you're going to buy, which will be there for your emergency if you needed to. So then the properties started becoming our banks for us. That's how we looked at it.
Yeah. So did you still continue to choose all the properties yourself? Or did you ever, talk to professionals about looking at different types of properties, maybe commercial, maybe development? You spoke about flipping, or did you just it was all your own research and you just applied it yourself?
Most of it, all of it pretty much was our own research. We applied it like whatever we had learned, and by buying it over and over so many times, we knew what we were doing. Now, like in a couple of years into it, we really knew what it was, and we were just going for it. There was a time when we wanted to implement a particular strategy, and we used a buyer's agent at that time. There were not many out there. And so we used somebody, and we said, this is what we are looking for, because we had a particular strategy in mind, what we wanted to do. And so then they found us that property, what we were looking for, and with which I thought, you know what, we could have done a better job with this thing ourselves, because we knew property, we knew finance, we knew investing, all of that sort of stuff. I said, well, this is like, then that's where the natural progression of buyer's agency businesses started, because we thought, we can provide this service to people. Because with our mortgage broking days, remember, we'd set up the mortgage nicely and say, okay, you've got enough money, you can buy a property, and but when we see those clients later, they would have bought the wrong thing, or the choices could have been different. And then we thought, why is this? Why are they not finding the quality properties that we are able to find for investing? And then we realized that there's not much knowledge out there about it, and we thought we can do better. So forget mortgage broking.
So this is now about property choice and
Yes.
looking at what types of properties work best for your portfolio.
Yes.
Choosing, capital growth versus, the yields, income. So yeah, then what happened after mortgage broking?
So we've left the mortgage broking altogether, and it started because the property side. We were both passionate about investing. I think that was what was driving us. So, okay, finance someone else can set. We don't worry about this. We just find the properties, the right properties, so that and that's hence the name of the other business, Right Property Group.
Yes.
So so finding those particular properties. And then not only just finding them, it's good, like you find these gems, right? But then what happens to the client? You're giving the property to the client. Client is someone also who is nervous, who everything's overwhelming for them, daunting task. This is so, there's so much to do. And so that is why when we started finding properties for people, we had people supporting the purchase process. So remember, we started this trend back there. The buyer's agency business then became like a holding hand for finding the properties, building the portfolio. It's not like it's not like a typical buyer's agent, what you hear the word buyer's agent. We were more like wealth creators, let's say. So we're helping people put a portfolio together. What I was aiming for was, with my results in terms of property investing, what I was aiming for is having similar results for other people. Because if I have done it, I can do it, other people can. And I did not start off with a lot of money, and people live here, they don't, they've saved up quite a bit of money, there is money there. So if they focus all of that money a little bit better, they can do it. So that was my game. So that's what we have always believed in and tried to do, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so you went from mortgage broking to buyer's agent. So, and you started that. So how long have you been doing the buyer's agency business for?
More than 50. Unofficially, 20 plus years, and then officially getting into really as a business,
Okay, so when you saw clients come to you, were they fearful? Did they think they could do it? Did you share your story and did they think, oh my goodness, that's too scary, or I want to do what you're doing? Take me through the whole process of the client's thoughts, and the fears and what they were feeling when they come and see you.
So when we started mortgage broking, I'm taking this into the personal side of my own personal journey. When we started the buyer's agency business, I had just had my baby. So again, starting the business, having the baby. So a lot of the clients' facing side of things was done by my husband.
Yeah.
But same thing. We've got same scenarios, like people coming in with lots of questions, fearful of what they're going to do, how they're going to do, and whether they can achieve it. And it's like that there is potential, they can do everything, but you cannot push them because they have to grow and learn in their own way to be comfortable in doing it. So we faced that. So whilst Victor handled the main business at that time, that's the time I stepped back to raise the family. Mm-hmm. So then I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Now I've got a baby. I really love doing this thing, and we've just started this business, and I want to do all these things, but how am I going to do it? So I started doing a smaller business at that time, just a boutique business for helping women build property portfolios.
Yes.
Because now I was a mum with a baby. I didn't have to go to work. The portfolio had given me that money, which had replaced my level of income that I was getting from my radiography role. And then I thought, this is enough for me to go with and teach other women do the investing.
So that's how Investor Women was born.
That's how Investor Women
very
was born.
good. Yeah.
Yes, and so this was going 19 or 20 years ago. And so basically what I would do is when we go with the children to the library for the reading groups and things like that, I would talk to the mums about investing. And the thing was that they all had to go back to work after the maternity leaves. So I started spreading, this is what you can do, this is what you can do, this is what you can do, right? So then that's where I built up the business from. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, so you've had the babies, your babies have now grown up.
Yes.
And then what? What was next in your career? So you had Investor Women and it was a small boutique business. So what happened next?
So whilst running that business, I had to slow things down after a few years, because that's when the time came that my parents were sick and needing my help. And to me, it was growing up, I knew that what I wanted to do, I believe that when you serve your parents, you get the blessings. So to me, it was like, I will want all those blessings for me. So I wanted to serve my parents. So when they were sick, I knew I had to do it. So because I wanted to do it. Actually, I was really happy to do it. And then spending those last times with them, like with my dad when he passed away, like really spending those last days with him was beautiful. And I guess the property portfolio itself allowed me to be staying at home, because I lived like about 10, 12 years at home, just being home, raising the children and looking after my parents. And if I did not have that portfolio, it wouldn't have given me that freedom to be able to do that. So I was able to then just stay back home, look after my parents. Father was sick, he passed away, then mum was sick, then she's still with me, which is great. But yeah, that's what I was doing in the last, let's say, 10 years of my life. So then a couple of years back, then that's when I thought it's time now to go back up with Investor Women and go again.
Yeah.
So the good 10 years out of that time was taken up by looking after family and with.
But you're still
with
running a business as well. Don't disregard that.
No.
You're still doing juggling. The juggling was real.
It was real. Yeah.
And so tell me today, so how many properties do you own today?
Oh, wow. Are we going with numbers?
I think, listeners will probably want to hear the numbers, or do you want to say, or portfolio value, or?
Yeah, okay. Because we always talk about not talking about number of properties, because what I found in the market out there, everyone is pushing, I've got these many properties, I've got these many properties, and creating all this stuff out there, and people want to get that. And I just want to say that if we don't talk about numbers, that would be great. But my numbers are in the triple digits. So
yeah,
I've got,
awesome. So you've had so much experience in building up a property portfolio. Mm-hmm. So tell me, there must have been mistakes or things that you would do again. Tell me about the things that didn't go to plan.
Okay. Yes, definitely. But they were in the early days. Early days, we made a couple of mistakes. Lost a bit of money too, yes. So we bought some land which was not registered, and so we bought these knowing that they will be registered the year later, but the developer decided to register them way ahead of time. So we were like, what are we going to do? We had to get out of it because we didn't quite have the money at the time to be able to settle on them. So we were able to get out of them. Yes, this is where it's important to have a good team members around, team professionals around you.
So like who?
As a solicitor, right, who understood what we were trying to do, and then he helped us get out of that contract as well. Yeah. So without losing too much of our money. We had to pay to get out, but yes, we were safe,
Yeah. So if you were to do it all again and start all over again from your very first investment, would you do it the same way, or what would you do differently?
I think we started on the right foot.
Yeah.
We were just lucky to have started on the right foot, I think. To do it all over again, maybe one or two properties we probably wouldn't have bought, but what we have always done is bought properties with a purpose. There was a reason for buying a property. We learned it very quickly. And so I probably wouldn't change anything that we had done. What we're doing now is, with all that and years of knowledge, the thing that we are doing different is we have streamlined it so well that when a client comes in, they don't have to go through all of that experience that we've had. Using that experience, their portfolio is doing fantastic because, you know, we're applying that into somebody else's portfolio. So what we would have done differently, I can't see what we would have done differently. We've done lots of strategies. Maybe we would have taken it a little bit slower because there was a bit of a rush.
Yeah.
Because if I had not bought a property for 6 months, I felt like I'm being left behind.
Yeah.
So that was there, but that was there in the early days when I was still in my 20s. Remember, I was quickly accumulating, and it was just accumulating and not looking at the numbers.
Yeah.
So that's something I would say people need to really look at the numbers, the cash flow, because the money that is flowing in, that's the one that decides how much you can hold over. So we had our business funding the hole in our portfolio for a while till we fixed things up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's managing your money. Yeah. So and you learn all that as you go along. So
yeah, very good. So I often get asked as a mortgage broker, we've got clients that are looking for properties, and I do have some clients when I talk about buyer's agents, they say, oh, why would I use a buyer's agent? My parents never used a buyer's agent, and I talk to people, my friends at barbecues, and they tell me that this area is good and I should just buy something around the corner from my house. What would you say to that?
Oh gosh, I want to show them the results and the difference. What do they understand of a buyer's agent? And I guess because we don't have the way we consult with people, the way we bring in our experience, there is no terminology. We are classed as a buyer's agent, but when you really look at a buyer's agent, there's someone who helps someone buy something, but we do way more than that. So we're like a property professional. So but we get counted in the buyer's agents as such. There's no specific terminology to say, okay, this is who you are. Yeah. So that's the difference. I think people have to realize it's not just a typical buyer's agency when dealing with us, I guess, because we've got the investment experience, the knowledge that we bring on to build that portfolio
and
for
you've
somebody.
Done it. You've got proven results.
Yeah.
You've got proven results, and
Yes.
you've done it, and you've done it very successfully as well.
Oh,
so,
yes. Yeah.
and you've got the passion to help people, which is awesome. Okay, so people who are just starting out in their investment journey, what would you say as your top 3 things to them?
Okay. People who are just starting out, really know your numbers, know where you are today, really look at where you want to be in 20 years' time, let's say, as a large, long-term goal. Then look at your short-term goal, and then look at your action steps. So there's one thing, it's your timeline. Where are you today? Where you want to be? And then what you have to do to get there. That's just the one thing. You have to learn about your own self, how you decide, how you make decisions. Who are you? What makes you tick? You also have to look at, in your timeline, if it's a young person, let's say in their 20s, when are you looking at getting married? If you are getting married, when are children coming? How will you live your life? Are you going to just be like, I wouldn't want someone to just go bang, bang, bang like how we did, right? And lifestyle was a little bit compromised because we were really busy in trying to get this result that we were after. Yes, we were very focused and we were trying to do that, but we could have lived a little bit differently too. But however, that same portfolio gave me the opportunity to do so much more with my life.
So are you saying you had to sacrifice in the early days?
Early days,
yeah.
yes.
And was it worth it?
I think so. For me, definitely worth
Yeah.
it. I have been able to do my music.
Yeah.
And I've been doing my music for the last 10 years. And I'm telling you, achieving that, standing in the studio there in India and recording the song for the first time, and my father had just passed away the year before. It was such a feeling. I will tell you, anyone who's got a dream, you've got to go for it. Because once you achieve that dream, the feeling you get after, it is unexplainable. You just, once you've achieved it, it is very unexplainable. You know you've made it. And for me to have made it, it was lovely, because I knew, like, I went into the radios back in Fiji, like I heard my songs being played, you know, I've sung with celebrities, I've done lots of things. So it was all because we were really focused right in the beginning, and we've done it. And look,
and you had a dream.
I had a dream.
Yeah.
It didn't take very long. We were like really focused. We got there, but we got there. And yeah, life is awesome.
Excellent. So what's next? Tell me your 10-year plan. What is next for you?
My 10-year plan is to catch up on the lifestyle that I missed out on. Okay, no. Lifestyle was laid back, which was quite, I'm not a very outgoing person anyway, so it was all good, it was all managed, it was great. I did lots of things during that time, but now lots of travels, because I know I can, and I'm doing a little bit of work on the, I'm quite passionate about helping I deal a lot with property, and I help people invest in property and build a future for themselves. But what I also am focusing on the people who are less advantaged. So the homeless people, especially the homeless women. So what I'm working on at the moment is putting shelters together and things like that, so I can house people. It's not all about creating your wealth and wealth for the wealthy and all the rest of it. I am thinking about the other people out there as well. So I'm trying to put my energy into putting together resources in getting women's shelter done, so that women can, you know, that's my giving back. And I really, because I mean, I've got the wealth, like, you know, how much more do I need, right? So I'm now focusing on this.
Excellent. Oh, that's awesome. And in terms of your business in the next 10 years, what do you see for that?
My business, next 10 years. Yeah, girls rock the world.
Yeah,
that's it. So, yes, a lot out there. Now that I have raised the children, I am free in that sense. I am now really looking forward to imparting my knowledge big time with the young ones and everyone in between too, you know. So girls rock the world, right? My mission now is to educate as many women as possible and show that the dream that you have is possible. I want to show that I'm a living example of achieving dreams, because I've done it. And I started with nothing, pretty much nothing. $4,500 to your name is pretty much nothing. And it took me, yes, some years to get there, because we kind of weren't quite sure exactly how to get there. But having that experience now, we can make it so much easier to achieve it. And I work with young girls. I like, you know, when the girls under the around 20s and the 30s, I really like working with them, because I can guide them the right way, right from the beginning. And it's so good. It's so nice to see them achieving these results. And then I can also, you know, be there as their mentor and their guide to say, okay, this is time to actually enjoy life at the moment. Just do this only. Leave it. We'll come back to it. So they hold your hand with life as life goes on. And I'm really, really thrilled to be doing that now.
Yeah, awesome. Excellent. Reshmi, thank you so much for sharing so much of your personal story. I know, you know, women out there are going to really, really appreciate how honest, open and authentic you've been. So thank you so much. And can I just say, it's just been a real privilege listening to her story. And thank you, Reshmi, for sharing.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs, and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property, or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned. This podcast has been brought to you by Investor Women.